Mother Tanetta quotes the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, so I'm not quoting Mother Tanetta. I have no reason to charge any of you who with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad of lying in terms of what he said. So if any of you say he said it, my inclination is to believe. And Mother Tanetta quotes the Honorable Elijah Muhammad as having said that when the war starts, when Armageddon starts, that Master Farad Muhammad, in fighting the devil, will solicit the aid of civilizations from other planets. And that confounded me when I first read it, just conceptually wrapping my mind around that one because of what it says about the devil. That the Supreme God would need to solicit. Now I know it's real, everything's real, war is real. So, but in this context, what that says, what that suggests to me, and other statements, is that Master Farad Muhammad's role is still active, even up until the dropping of the bombs. The real fight with the beast, that his role is still active. Now, it's funny because, for example, this is a brother who brought me into Islam. This is my life. For years, we've been going back and forth, for example, over the issue of will Master Farad Muhammad be seen again, or was his departure in 1934 the end of it? You know, and mentioned in his book, there's some statements from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad that suggests that when he came, he done, he did, and he left, and that's it. There's other statements that suggest, well, he will come back, or there's some continued role for Master Farad Muhammad. So I say that to say that, you know, it seems pretty clear that no, we can't be dogmatic about it because the evidence of Honorable Elijah Muhammad is ambiguous. So I say that so you understand where I'm coming from. It's actually a wrestling with me. It's not. I'm not dogmatic. I'm trying to really.
See if I can clear that up for you. Pray Allah can clear it up for you. Okay, we got two situations here. We got one which is the end, meaning the end of the devil's time, in which the black man will start his rise. That end deals with the present Master Farad Muhammad, who raises his people into nationhood. He says, we will have some land of our own, preferably right here in this country, 4 or 5 states. And during this time, these white folks is going to have to give us reparations, if you want to call it that, 25 to 30 years, so that we can get a chance to learn to govern ourselves before we go back home. Okay, now that's one end that they're talking about. Now during that end, he's saying that Master Farad Muhammad is among his people, doing his work. He says, during this time, 2 gods are represented. One is called God, one is called the Holy One. He says, so that the people are confused as to which one they should serve. He says, but if God does not come to the aid of the Holy One, the devils would kill him. Okay, so we know that if he's talking about the 2 being on the scene at the same time, this means that during his life, he would be preparing Son of Man. Son of Man, Holy One. It says, and David called Solomon Lord, and Solomon called David Lord. Now the people is confused, but Solomon and David ain't confused. Our Father says, I say to you like David said to Solomon. He said, was it David who built the house of his desire? it was Solomon, his son Solomon. He said, so I say to you, like David said to Solomon, even though I may not be around to see the completion of the temple, nevertheless, I will get the material for you. Meaning that Solomon has to use what his father has given him to build this nation. See? Okay, now the second end. Now this end that not only confounds, yourself or most folks, and anybody that hasn't really sit under the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and listened intently will be confused about that end. 144,000 they claim. They asked our father many times, can't we change that? Can't we change? He told them, man, prophets, you can't, prophets say that that's what it is now. All right.
Oh, so the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said we can't change that?
He said it. But now there's another issue here. We'll deal with it. He said we can't make lies of the prophets. He says 144,000. Okay, now the first destruction of the devil's power is us being able to get these fools to give us some land and take care of us. That's the first. The second is when the word is given that it's time for Muslims and anybody else that's trying to get up out of here to get up out of here. Because next comes the bombing. That's when we will go back home and start school for 20 years, according to our father. Now,
to start school
for 20 years. We got to go to school for 20 years. We got to learn a new language, which is supposed to be a universal language. We're supposed to learn new mathematics, and we will communicate with our brothers and sisters in the solar system. There's 7 inhabited planets. Now, that happens when we blow up this continent. Now, the reason there's such a thing about that is because, and we got to tell the truth, only about 600,000 Muslims will come up out of here. Which is really saying...
How did we get that number?
Yes.
Is that right?
There's 400 some odd women and children, and 144,000 FOI. Now, what that is saying, and it's hard, but he said you can't make liars of the prophets. Now, that's saying that all of our people is going down with this devil when it's time to leave. They ain't going to leave. And he said that this would be an opportunity for our people to get a reward for all the suffering that they had to go through. But everybody ain't coming up out of here. They're going to refuse. They're going to call us nuts, space nuts, and all the rest of that. Talking about some ships that's going to come, and they're going to call us religious fanatics, and we're crazy. And most of them is going to be mad because we're going to say, you can't bring nothing with you. And they're rich. They got everything. They the highest civilization on the planet, the most progressive civilization on the planet. They lead in everything. In heaven, for real. Even though we're going to have jails too. But we will be at the top of civilization. They ain't going to want to leave. And when we start talking about leave everything, get ready for the flying saucers to come, they're going to say, y'all crazy. And only the most spiritually advanced is going to leave.